We're back in the saddle again with another Best Team Pro Rate Your Best Teams. Today, I look at your teams you plan on using for Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. I posted a community post and you guys killed it. There were so many amazing teams that I saw, but in the end, I chose 3. There were definitely some original ones out there, but like I said, I can't choose all of your teams. However, at some point, if you guys enjoyed this series, I would love to take a look at your teams again. The 3 teams I chose today were honestly really fun to look at, and there were some pretty unique options that I myself hadn't even considered using. Anywho though, I'll be giving my opinions on these teams, and giving advice on what can be done to spiffy them up a bit if needed. So that said, let's hop into these fun and creative BDSP teams. Alright, so the first team I saw that really stuck out to me was from Maxwell, with 3 or 4 L's. Sorry bud, I can't count. Their team was Empoleon, Luxray, Rapidash, Beautifly, Leafeon, and Mismagius. Let me start off by saying, I love the originality that went into this team. Max has the adorable Leafeon, the underrated Mismagius, and the poopy Beautifly, which I won't lie, definitely isn't fantastic. But I still love the originality behind the thought. Leafeon as an evolution, unfortunately, isn't the best one of the 8. If anything, it is actually one of the worst by far. And the reasoning behind this is simply due to the fact its move pool is very shallow for its grass type attacks. Leafeon gets great grass moves, it's just they're so late game, especially with Leaf Blade. Leafeon has to rely on Razor Leaf for the majority of the game, only having base 55 power. It has more special attacks than anything, and to be honest, that's primarily what hurts it the most. So Max, if you're looking for a replacement, Roserade would probably be your best bet. If you're not though, simply running Swords Dance to buff up Razor Leaf should more or less suffice. If you're looking to amp Leafeon's speed, Chlorophyll could be an option for you. The downside to that though, is that's Leafeon's hidden ability, so you would have to go through the trouble of breeding, etc. Plus having any kind of sun out would nerf Empoleon's water attacks. Bottom line, I wouldn't recommend a grass type period for Sinnoh, but if Leafeon is the route you want to take, then run Swords Dance. Rapidash, I am gonna say no to that one, Chief. And that's just more so with my personal bias with Infernape and having Houndoom as options. Diamond and Pearl have just made me not want to use Rapidash. Replacement is key with that one. In-game though, because BDSP allows fire types to more or less flourish, if you want to have special attacks being Rapidash's main attacking power, that's fine. Just know base 80 is all it has, and the moves available for it are rather shallow. Flame Wheel is the best physical fire move for the entirety of the game, having only 60 base power. And even with Flare Blitz, it's too late game in my opinion. And that recoil, along with that subpar base 65 HP, it's a very loose glass cannon that will break upon even the smallest hits.
Ponyta also evolves at level 40, which is really annoying. Which is really all in.
The same thing for Leafeon applies for Rapidash. Run it if you want it. I just think the journey is going to be rocky. The best way, in my opinion, to make Rapidash work for you is to just keep Flame Wheel and try whatever coverage you can get. Up next is Beautifly, and oh boy, this one is rougher than Leafeon and Rapidash. I've never seen a bug-type mon ever really perform well in any Pokemon game before, and it's just simply due to the fact it's just a terrible typing. And I'm ready for the comment section to say, Heracross, hold my beer, and insert other crappy YouTube comment section meme. Heracross is that one special case, and probably the same also applies with Scizor. Bug types just don't do well, okay? That's it. The only remotely good thing about Beautifly is its base 100 special attack, and even then, with 65 base speed, you aren't going to be hitting anything, period. The fact that it has to rely on Quiver Dance to outspeed even the slowest mons is just plain sad. The only way I can even see Beautifly even working period is to play Gamble of Silverwind and hope you get the stat increase. You're going to be going back and forth to the Pokemon Center restoring that low PP though. Having a bug type isn't going to do you any good to be honest. And honestly, I would probably replace it with a better flyer, or Heracross. It doesn't even have to be Staraptor. Even Drifblim is a viable option. Though I will say, if you can make Beautifly work, like how I'm going to try and make Cherrim work, best of luck, buddy. That pain is going to make you one of the most badass Pokemon trainers. In regards to the rest of Maxwell's team, Empoleon is great with its great dual typing and decent move pool. The Empoleon line can help out against Rourke in the early game, a few of Byron's Mons, Canis's Ice types, etc. That Steel typing is going to play really well defensively too, and will be able to help out poor Beautifly. Mismagius is honestly underrated. I'm glad that Mag is getting some love. Mismagius is phenomenal for an in-game playthrough with all that amazing coverage. Plus, you can get Misdreavus early enough, and that will play well a lot of the time. If you can get Nasty Plot on it too, it's pretty much GG. The coverage it has, along with the amazing special attack and speed it has, will be enough to really hold the fort down. A move that's really fun to run on Mismagius too is Charge Beam. If a mon is on really low HP, Charge Beam can revenge kill, and there's a possibility Mag could get a special attack increase, so that's really fun to utilize. Lastly, Max is going to be running Luxray, and that's not the worst option, nor the best option. Luxray is one of the more common Pokemon I see being run on Sinnoh teams, because of its early game availability, and having the dream of it hopefully one day getting the Dark type. My only problems with Luxray is just the fact that its move pool is very shallow, and even the electric attacks it gets aren't super great. Physical electric moves for Luxray are few and far between, with its only option literally being Wild Charge. Sure, it gets the elemental Fangs, but that's all the coverage it gets. Legit, if Trait Evolution is a possibility for you, I would run Electivire, as I think that's the best electric type mon for an in-game playthrough. Magnezone is great, but it's very situational, and I feel those elements can't be utilized all that well from an in-game perspective. Raichu could be a third option because at least it gets some coverage and it's more or less easy to acquire. I like Luxray in some ways, I just can't get behind why people like to use it so much. Its special attack is fine at base 95, but with only having access to electric moves, I just don't see the point. Having great stats with little to no coverage options just doesn't seem like a useful strat to me. Having multiple options has always been my philosophy. Best of luck though, Max. I really love the uniqueness behind your team, and I hope you can make it work for you, especially with Beautifly. Let me know how that goes for you. The next team comes from Lil Anthrax, and I hope your rap career goes good, guy. Their team consists of Empoleon, Beautifly/Dustox, Pachirisu, Carnivine or Cacturne, and Licklicky.
And how could I forget Chimecho?
This team is definitely the most unique team I could find on the post. For starters, Empoleon is fine. And like I mentioned with Maxwell's Empoleon, it has decent stats, fine move pool, and that unique dual typing. So Empoleon will work. With Beautifly, the same reasons I gave to Max also apply. Dustox is a little different though because it has access to poison options, and could potentially help with the fairy type being added in. But again, we run into the problem of only being really viable with Quiver Dance active. If a mon has to rely on a move to buff them, especially having to use it multiple times, you're better off finding another option. Two poison mons I would recommend here are Drapion and Toxicroak, if a poison option is what you're looking for. Carnivine, I'm going to straight up just say it, no. And choose Cacturne instead. Carnivine has no good grass attacks, and its move pool is very shallow. The biggest detriment, though, is that base 46 speed. This plant isn't going to be hitting anything to save its life. Cacturne is slow too, but it's viable. Cacturne has access to Sucker Punch, which is great on a slow mon like Cacturne because it brings priority. The grass attacks it has access to are also much better, and it can be used as a mixed attacker. I would run a more special one though, because it has access to more special attacks, and the only physical grass move it gets is Needle Arm. Unless we count Seed Bomb, but that's an egg move. All the rest of them are pretty bad. So if you want a grass type option out of the two you chose, Cacturne can work. Obviously, I would recommend something better, like Roserade, but Cacturne can work. Plus, the dark attacks it gets are decent, especially through level up, like I mentioned before with Sucker Punch. Moving on to Chimecho, you and I both know Alakazam, Gardevoir, or just about any other psychic Pokemon available to use is a better option to use. However, Chimecho is viable, and can be used if given the proper moveset. The moveset I would run would consist of Calm Mind, Psychic, Shadow Ball, and Dazzling Gleam. Or you can switch Dazzling Gleam with something like Energy Ball. Chimecho has a decent enough move pool to perform alright in Sinnoh, and though its stats may not be as great as say something like Alakazam, 80 defense and 90 special defense are definitely not bad. Calm Mind can really help out Chimecho, but even without it, I wouldn't say it's a detriment to Chimecho if you choose not to run it. With Calm Mind though, that 65 base speed can be made up for in its defenses. Plus that special attack and special defense buff are going to be really great for it. Lick Licky is totally fine for an in-game playthrough. In fact, I've actually used it on a couple of best teams in the past. The move pool it has, and just with being a normal type, it's a great filler spot for anyone's team, especially if you don't enjoy the Snorlax grind. I don't really need to get too much into Lick Licky. This last Pokemon though, being Pachirisu, is a very interesting choice because I know every single one of you in my comment section is going to kill me if I say anything bad about it because of Sage and Park winning VGC. Look, in-game perspectives in VGC are two totally different ways of playing Pokemon. Sagen was able to utilize Pachirisu in a way that just simply blows any Pokemon player's mind. But in-game though, there are much better options to use. And on top of that, double battles are going to only make up a very small portion of these games. Pachirisu constantly spamming Nuzzle could be fun for sure, but I just don't see how anyone could have the patience of trying to knock out a Mon with those abysmal base 45 attack stats. Save yourself the trouble and use Electivire, Raichu, Magnezone, or hell, even Luxray. Luxray I may not deem perfect, but it's still better than using Pachirisu. My dude, if you want the challenge though, I give the utmost respect to you. Spam Nuzzle to your heart's content. Lastly, we have one more final team, and this one is a team I've actually used myself. This team was submitted by Silent Gamer. Infernape, Staraptor/Togekiss, Luxray, Garchomp, Floatzel, and Roserade. This is a very common team that I'm sure a lot of people have seen before when it comes to Sinnohmons. Obviously, we have our best starter being Infernape, and you guys have heard me talk about Infernape multiple times before. It's the best fire-type Pokemon Sinnoh has to offer, and you can run it as a mixed attacker, having both 104 in attack and special attack. And its stab move pool is great, along with a few other coverage options. Infernape is going to be the powerhouse on this team, and I would say the MVP too. A portion of important battles in the game go down to Infernape alone. Staraptor and Togekiss are both fantastic options, and to be honest, you could use either or. It doesn't matter which choice you use. Both will do equally well in my eyes. Staraptor has close combat though, and can be effective against steel types, but Togekiss has Aura Sphere as well. Both Pokemon work fine, and their stats don't lie. Air/flinching can also be really fun to utilize on Togekiss. So like I said, each one work fine. Luxray, like I've already mentioned twice before, I like the idea of using other Mons because of a limited move pool, etc. Garchomp is fantastic, having its great typing and phenomenal stats. Plus, it's a pseudo-legendary, and can be obtained at a decent time. It will take a while to evolve, but Garchomp is worth having for the late game. Floatzel, on the other hand, I feel isn't a bad choice, but Gyarados is a better option in my opinion. Just because I say that though, doesn't mean Floatzel isn't viable. The only downside is I wish Floatzel would have better physical water options via level up. Its special attack is alright at base 85, but again, we run into one of those cases where it's just a waste to have special attacking moves when it's meant to be more of a physical attacker. This should honestly be called Unpheasant Syndrome. But it's not like Floatzel isn't unusable though. It has alright coverage, I guess. Roserade is the last Mon they chose, and I gotta say, it's a great choice. The versatility Roserade brings to the table is pretty unmatched in the grass department. Grass types aren't exactly the hottest for a Sinnoh adventure, but this is the Mon to pick if you wanted a grass type. Plus that poison typing may help with the fairy typing now being present, and it's also got a fun moveset and move pool to run. Other than that, this team is pretty good. I just think Floatzel and Luxray could be swapped, but then again, they're not the worst Mons to have on a team. Overall, the first two of these teams provided a lot of uniqueness that I haven't truly seen in a long time, and I wish both of these trainers luck in using these Mons. I can sympathize. I'm going to be using Cherrim, so I understand the challenge aspect of using really bad Mons. I love the fact though that you guys are even attempting to use terrible Mons, and please let me know how using these Mons turns out, especially with Pachirisu and the bugs. These teams are both really fun on paper, and I look forward to hearing about your results. If you do take the advice I've given, I hope it helps. If not, best of luck to you both. The last team had solid mons, generally speaking. 2 mons could be swapped out, but like I said, it's still a viable team. And other than that, I don't really have anything else to say. Well, that wraps up my thoughts and opinions about your guys' teams for Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. What did you guys think of these teams? Pretty challenging and unique, huh? Let me know if you guys tried these teams out. Join our Discord server and keep me updated. Also, let me know down below once again what crazy teams you all have in mind. If you want to see more of these team review videos in the future, be sure to also leave a like. Hey, welcome to my new outro. A big thank you to everyone for watching the video. I want to give a huge thanks to my phenomenal team and for the amazing art done each week by Danny the Demon. I couldn't do all this without them. If y'all enjoyed the video and want to see more content like this, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Be sure to leave a comment too. It really helps us out. I have a brand new TikTok for MysticUmbreon, and I've got a goal to get 10k followers over there. If we can hit that goal, I'm going to pick a random video suggested to me by you guys and do it. So go over there and leave a follow. Also, over on MysticSage, we've still got 2 videos going up every weekend. We've got content from My Hero, to Demon Slayer, to Dragon Ball, so come and check it out. And also check out MysticSage on TikTok. Finally, I've got an Amazon store where I sell tons of cool stuff. I think I'm gonna wrap this up though. I'm MysticUmbreon, and I'll see you next time with some more amazing Pokemon content.